It's It's about 2, and 1. Assuming I can press the right button. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Snodacast, episode 8. I am your host, Black Chef 56, and I am, of course, joined by the Diamond Assassin, aka Lewis.
What's up?
Yeah. The one, the only, the always staring off into bottomless, or whatever the hell the bottomless pit is, of nothingness with vague disinterest, Gallows. And of course, the evil plotting one herself, Allie, aka Hungry Pufflepuff. Be on the lookout for world domination from this one. And a relative newcomer, not necessarily new, but go ahead.
See, that's the thing. If I go for world domination, nobody's gonna see it coming.
This is true. And of course, the one that apparently has like 3 dots on his LEDs just busted. Doesn't even notice it and doesn't care.
That's actually like where they connect. It's like
okay.
Okay.
I was about to say that you'd have probably put that in a corner somewhere. I don't know. Anyways, that being said, the one that poorly plans on his LED lights placement, and a second time comer, freaking Pancho Goose, aka Brett.
Pancho Villa?
Ooh. All right, and we can't have any normal sense of bullfuckery without asking the age-old question. How was everyone's week? We're going to go ahead and start with Lewis, then Gallows, then Allie, then Brett. So, Lewis, how's your week?
I'm alive. I'm well. A few stuff going on mentally. A lot of mental health. Like I think about this a lot. That mental health is very important. So please, if you are dealing with anything, take care of yourself. Go seek people and seek professional help if you need to. It has been a journey for me. So yeah. But other than that, I'm doing good.
It's all a lie. I'm just joking.
Gallows over here. It's all a lie. You liar.
Well, we can't tell who hasn't been burned by the freaking other shit.
I tell if you froze though, yeah, go seek therapy,
no,
get some help, talk to somebody. Talk to somebody. There's always friends and family that can be there.
100%.
But also remember, just because they're family doesn't mean they're family. There's a bunch of dickheads who don't really love you.
This is true. All
Blood
right.
is not always family.
Blood is not always family. All right. So, Gallows, you want to talk about it? How was your week, buddy?
It's been a good week.
All right. That's good. That's good.
My eyes got cut for about like 2 weeks, and then I fixed the whole thing. So there's that.
That's always good.
How's that good? I got paid $200 this paycheck.
Well, no, I'm saying that you got it fixed though.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, I got it fixed. Everything's
Yeah, that's
fine
always
now.
good. Not the fact that you got your hours cut. No, I'm not that much of an ass.
Damn.
Absolutely. Yeah. All right.
Yeah, okay.
That's always good. Allie, as you're plotting world domination.
Better than last week. Last week was a nightmare. This week has been relaxing.
That's always good.
Great.
Brett. How's your week, buddy?
My battery in my truck stranded me at school.
Oof.
Oh no!
Oh, unfortunate.
And then that was Friday. And then this weekend, so we got the battery replaced, and it like made a blend door actuator in my dash go crazy. So I had to replace that. This little thing right here. You know, Ford Motor Company. Yeah. So
they watching.
That's always fun.
No, I'm kidding.
It took me 15 minutes to get one screw off of this thing because it was so deep into my dash.
Yeah,
so
that makes sense, actually. All right.
Well,
Well,
that's about sums it up.
my week has been okay. As of Sunday, I got to go visit an early Valentine's Day with my girlfriend, and Yeah, that's I just want to rub it in a little bit, make you guys feel just absolutely like shit. No, I'm kidding. No, I just wanted to say that was nice. I was actually very happy to do that, mostly because she and I both had school and she had work on Monday, so that that was just a big thing. Still enjoying the fuck out of my truck. That's always fun, even though that rhymes. And then of course, always, just biggest thing is work and school. I'm doing okay in school. Actually, the more I think about it, I gotta do a quiz. I haven't done that yet. That's always fun. But good news is it isn't due till tomorrow, so I can always get it done tomorrow, as long as I remember. But that being said, just grinding at it, that's the biggest thing. Just got back from work a couple hours ago, to be perfectly honest, a few hours ago. And now I have an appointment to do my taxes with H&R Block, so that's always fun. But enough with that boring shit of how pointless my life is going. Let's go ahead and go into now showing. Of course, we have our lovely little graphic done by yours truly. Today, we are going to be talking about Uncharted and the Cuphead show. Let's go ahead and start with Uncharted. I have not heard I've heard decent things. I have not heard good things. Basically, this is essentially Hollywood casting in a nutshell, and that is the ultimate problem right there. This is Hollywood casting, and honestly, not the best casting in the world. Just because Mark Wahlberg is playing, Mark Wahlberg, and Tom Holland is playing Peter Parker if he was cool.
Wait, Mark Wahlberg can play things other than Mark Wahlberg?
Very rarely, but yes. Yes, very rarely, but yes.
I haven't seen this yet.
Well, I'm sure it exists somewhere. Somewhere. But that being said, honestly, just weird casting choices is the problem, at least for the main leads. I have been told that the side characters are a lot of fun in this. Here's the thing. If you're a fan of the games, the main consensus I've heard is you may enjoy this. However, it is nothing like the games. And that is the problem. It tries to do a lot of fan service moments, even though it's nothing like the games. And that's just not exactly what we need to do. But the biggest thing is going to be, for sure, it's mostly going to come down to, can you turn your brain off for a fun, dumb, enjoyable action flick, which I can, or can you not? Or are you just going to have to look at it like, well, I'm an Uncharted fan. This is nothing like the games. Why am I watching this? Why did I spend money to see this? That kind of thing. So this is probably going to be something I'm going to skip. I know it sounds harsh, but I'm probably not going to be a fan of this, just because it's like video game movies have come so far that I feel like this is just like 15 steps back. And that's a problem, especially with Uncharted. Uncharted is one of the easiest games to ever really adapt, bro. Like, I mean, it's kind of like Tomb Raider. Tomb Raider is hard to adapt because it gets so batshit insane by the end of it. Whereas, like Uncharted usually keeps this fun, lighthearted tone with a lot of darker elements. Like, that's the biggest thing. But
Uncharted tends to keep itself somewhat grounded.
Yeah, it's Indiana Jones is essentially what it is. It's an Indiana Jones-esque movie, which means it can have some dark, serious shit going down. Also, batshit insane finale. And it can also have a lot of fun. Like, if you're gonna do... I'm not saying rip off Indiana Jones. Leave that to Tomb Raider. No, I'm kidding. Anyways, no, I'm kidding. I'm not saying rip off Indiana Jones. I'm just saying get that kind of style. Go for a Spielberg style. Go for like this kind of ridiculous plot. Keep it grounded enough, but have a lot of fun with it. That's the biggest thing. And
you're absolutely Sorry, go ahead.
Well, that's all I'm saying. Like, Uncharted should have been the easiest thing to adapt, and you even have the same company behind it that's producing this, but then Sony's like, well, we feel like we should do this, and it's like, why are we casting Tom Holland of all people? And it's like, well, he's popular right now. Why Mark Wahlberg? I don't know, probably because something. Like that's just, it's like, it's Mark Wahlberg. I'm like, I get it, you want to have more names on your poster, but you also have a really good villain in Antonio Banderas, because he's essentially like, he's the number one thing I've been hearing a lot of praise for this movie and some of the set pieces, but like he is the number one reason. He's saying he's the number one highlight of the movie is because he feels like an Uncharted villain.
Yeah, his
like an Uncharted
villain being like from.
They said that villain is very close. He's about as close to an Uncharted villain as there has been. At least like, okay, they're saying he feels like an Uncharted villain. He's written like an Uncharted villain. It's just everything else around it is not really Uncharted.
But you're absolutely right. We have come a very long ways since, forgive me for saying this, Super Mario Brothers.
I actually enjoy that movie on a whole unironic level, but continue. I know, you can kill me later.
The disconnect from the games to the movie itself that Super Mario Brothers was, with one of the most recent ones, Sonic the Hedgehog, has been amazing when you think about it.
It was definitely a step in the right direction. I agree.
And to hear that Uncharted has taken such a step back is extremely disappointing to me, because it should have been a slam dunk.
Yeah, it's easy. You get the right casting.
Step ladder.
Yeah.
With a freaking step ladder.
Absolutely. No, I agree. Like, that's the thing is, like, I mean, just have a couple of ridiculous set pieces, which I have heard are a part of this. Now, as to why they're doing, like, one of the best and well-known from Uncharted 3 of all things, I don't know. However, the biggest thing is, I think their biggest misstep was casting. Really, here's the thing. I think Tom Holland is fine, but everybody's like, no one's gonna see him past Spider-Man for quite some time. And it doesn't help the fact that Spider-Man No Way Home just came out, like, not even a few months ago. So that doesn't help. The problem is I still feel like, and I get it, I know he's not the youngest in the world anymore. I still feel like Nathan Fillion would have been the best casting choice to play Drake. Now, in that fan film, do I think that Stephen Lang was a great Sully? No, I think someone like Robert De Niro or like something along those lines, like not necessarily Clint Eastwood, but that would be entertaining. I feel like Robert De Niro would have been okay. I'm sure he's clamoring for a paycheck at some point, even though he's older. Somebody like that would have been okay. But when it comes to Mark Wahlberg, it's just kind of my thought process. I mean it's Mark Wahlberg.
When you think about it in a director kind of like position of like, I get why they casted these certain actors and actresses, and it's mostly because of they're trying to like kind of like recreate / like kind of get close to the characters and what they kind of look like, closest to it as humanly possible. So I mean, that's even a challenge, let alone to find someone like, not just someone who looks like the actual character, but also has actual like good like acting skills.
Here's my thing.
It's not just and
Go ahead.
It's not just about like looking like the character. You gotta also like know how to act too, is what I'm saying.
So
Precisely.
Here's my thing. Even if you are going for a young Nathan Drake, you know who I feel like would have been great? Dylan O'Brien. Dylan O'Brien would have been Dylan O'Brien would have been great. The guy from the Maze Runner movies, he would have been fantastic as a young Drake. Like, cast his ass. He's a good actor. Nothing against Tom Holland. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm just saying, like, I feel like that's not a role for Tom Holland, at least right now. I feel like maybe in the next few years, I could see Tom Holland definitely doing an Uncharted-esque movie. But like honestly,
I think he did.
Dylan
He
O'Brien.
did it because he wanted to get out. I think he did it because he wanted to get out of Spider-Man's image.
Well, and I get that,
He
and
wanted
that's why he did
to be
Chaos
recognized for
Walking as well.
Spider-Man, to be recognized, so he's able to do other roles instead of just Spider-Man.
Well, no, and I get it. I'm
that's-
all for him doing other roles. I'm not saying. I mean, that's the whole reason why he did Cherry. That's the whole reason why he did freaking Chaos Walking, which both of those suck. Nothing against him. I'm just saying, you know.
That's going to be a problem for any actor with a role that popularized them. They get pigeonholed into that role and will fight tooth and nail to get out of it, and sometimes not even succeed.
Tim
It's
Robbins
like
is one of the
Ford.
few. Harrison Ford. Well, Harrison Ford always plays Harrison Ford. Like, to be perfectly honest, there's not much difference between Indiana Jones and Han Solo.
It's just the setting.
Yeah.
Pretty much. There's a reason why there's even a popular fan theory that Han Solo is dreaming all the Indiana Jones stuff while he's frozen in kryptonite. Or not kryptonite, carbonite.
I love it. I love it.
Oh, it's a fantastic theory. I love it too. But anyways, on to the Cuphead show. I know Lewis has been wanting to talk about this. I finished the first episode this morning. Just to get an idea of what I'm looking at. I started the second episode, but then I had to get back to work. The unfortunate thing, but I wasn't expecting it to be so low rated. I was at least expecting a little bit more of an adult edge. That being said, it's fine. It definitely reminds me of old school cartoons like the Tom and Jerry, like the old school Mickey cartoons, you know, all that fun stuff. So it definitely gives me that vibe, especially with like the gloves that they're wearing and everything else like that.
I never thought for a second when it came out that it was going to be like very adultish. I knew what it was going to be because of the game. So it's like, especially because the DLC is going to come out like in either this year or next year. I can't remember.
Well, yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I know the game is very appealing towards kids, but like, that's a really hard game, man. Like, there's no tutorial. You have to figure it out.
Is that a lot of the kids who play it are kids that parents are like, oh, I'm not gonna say never mind, forget it. They don't really like games like that. Let's just put it like that. They don't like games like that.
I mean,
And
if we're being honest, like, I mean, if we're being honest, I think the whole point of like the Netflix show is to get more people eyes on the game, let alone the update.
Oh yeah.
And also because when the game launched, most of the people who were actually playing those games were streamers who would either speedrun platformers or people who never done platformers and liked because of the old school style, cartoon style, and the music.
Oh well, yeah.
The game is fantastic.
Oh no,
Oh, yeah,
it's definitely groundbreaking, for sure.
It is a love letter to classic gaming.
Not even classic gaming. It's really
The
just a love
music,
letter to like
everything. No,
classic
it's just-
entertainment. Yeah,
It really is.
yeah. As a whole, I mean, I'm not saying it isn't a love letter to classic gaming. It is. It's a love letter to platformers, 100%. But I honestly, I mean, the biggest thing is like the biggest compliment I can give Cuphead as a person who's like played a handful of it. I never really fully sat down and played the game. I plan to. It's just I haven't had the money yet to get it. Even though I think I can get it for like $20. That being said, I would love to sit down and eventually play it 100%. But I know the style. I've seen playthroughs. I've seen all that I pretty much need to know, and I feel like I would love this game, but it would never be. It would be a game I would probably never come close to finishing, and that is a problem. But
It's a game that you need to take your time on it because I went back into it. And I'm stuck on a boss right now because I want to actually do a good job on the scoring, even though a lot of people don't give a crap about it.
Yeah.
But honestly, the consistency is like once you get the hang of every mechanic, you can literally fly through a bunch of like the boss spaces.
Well, and that's what I'm talking about with the comparison to classic gaming. With Cuphead, it's all about figuring out the mechanics of each and every boss to maximize your actions. Yeah. Whereas a lot of the time in video games these days, it's also random based on the programming's random chance and the programming's reactions to what the player does.
Right. That is true, and that is old school for sure. Definitely something that you're gonna have a different time. You're gonna have a different way of defeating it usually every time you play through it, which I love. That's a lot of that gives replay value.
It gives me Mario vibes.
Well,
It
yeah.
gives me Mario, like
Legend of Zelda,
Mario.
old school Nintendo games. Hence the reason I want to get it on my Switch. I don't want to get it on my PlayStation. I really want to get it on my Switch though, because I feel like that would feel right at home on the Switch.
From
it's-
the trailer, from the DLC, it looks so much fun.
Oh,
like
yeah.
I didn't think that they were gonna. I didn't think it would get like they would like top their like the first part of Inkwell Isles. I think if I'm saying that correctly.
Okay.
But the second map, it's gonna be so much fun.
Yeah. I will say this, I'm definitely more interested in the show. It just feels like it's very episodic so far. Granted, I'm only like 2.5 episodes in.
They did a very good job with the voice acting. I was kind of a little bit afraid of who they were going to voice, like what voices they were going to select for Cuphead and Mugman. Fantastic job on both the Devil and Mr. Dice, or King Dice.
Yeah.
Yes.
Well, okay,
And Chalice.
you have freaking Wayne Brady playing Dice. I mean, come on, man. That's pitch perfect casting right there. Wayne Brady deserves to voice a lot of characters.
And then the Chalice, I can't remember what her name is, but she also did Danny Phantom, Gray. I can't remember what her last name is, but the one who played what's it called, Vicky, Kitty Cat's-Well.
Oh.
And I can't. Yeah,
I know
that
who
voice
you're
actor.
talking
She
about.
plays Chalice, and oh my god, her character is hilarious. Didn't think how that direction that they were gonna take certain characters. Like,
Right.
I thought it was gonna be more of like kind of like not too serious, but like her character being a serious heroic character, and they just twist it, and it's great.
So they kind of do a Mabel kind of thing, maybe. No?
It's better than Mabel. It's
Okay.
so much better. It's so
Okay.
much better.
Because
Mabel? What?
Mabel. Okay, well, when I think of like a character that you flip on its head,
Yeah.
Mabel from Gravity Falls is a really good example. Just because of how.
It's a twist
Yeah.
from her character because of the game. That's what I'm saying. It's because I'm
okay.
comparing her character in the game. Like, instead of her being like a very serious heroic character, they twist her in a fun way, and it's very enjoyable. Her character, I'm like, yes, I want more of her with both of Cuphead and Mugman in episodes.
Yeah.
And you've got to love when they're able to do that successfully, because there are plenty of examples of trying to twist a character and absolutely failing.
Yeah.
I will say this: in the beginning of the second episode, it actually genuinely got not to say that the show isn't funny. It is. The first episode didn't necessarily have me laugh as much as I was like, "Oh, that's really good animation." Because the first episode I think was really to
you have
introduce
to
everything.
essentially get used to it.
Yeah, I mean there was
It's
the
just
one
like any
joke.
other series nowadays.
Yeah, the one joke that actually genuinely got me to laugh in the first episode. Most of it was chuckles, or I was like, "Oh, that's actually legit, kind of cool."
Yeah.
Anything involving the devil was hilarious in my opinion. That was really funny.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he was
For
done
sure.
really well. But I will say the whole when they're trying to paint the fence and he just uses a can and he's like, still too much gunpowder. I'm like, that's funny.
That's old school.
Dude, that is old school
right
cartoon.
there.
Yeah. I was like, that's hilarious. Now the beginning of the second episode is like, hey, Cup, why are we fighting? Because we were told not to? Oh yeah. I was like, that's sibling vibes
And
right
just
there.
keep
That's
brawling.
siblings. Yeah,
That's
that's
so good.
sibling vibes right
That's
there, man.
So good.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, we can just condense it all in one statement. Cuphead itself is just a love letter to the classics.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
100%. I mean, hell, the second episode is literally a baby is on the doorstep and they're having to take care of it.
Oh, it gets so much better. Each episode I don't know how they planned it, but every time I kept on going through episode, it kept on topping itself one after the other. So it's like,
Yeah.
I'm excited for what the next season they're gonna.
Why don't you
Oh,
give me their Netflix and I can watch it?
Ask Teddy. Did you hear me, Gallows?
Yeah.
Yeah, ask Teddy. That's how I'm watching it. But anyways, that being said, you guys, any more thoughts, comments, concerns on either Uncharted or Cuphead show?
Yeah.
Uncharted, because I never got a chance to talk about it.
My bad.
I think, from what I've been hearing, I think the casting was done well. I think, in some points, I think someone else should have taken the role instead of Tom Holland, especially because of Spider-Man and other stuff. But I digress. He still is a pretty good role for that character specifically. I think it, like, just the way that his outfit and everything, even though I haven't played any of the Uncharted games, I think it fits. The look fits the way it's supposed to. So I think if they would have done a little bit more, like maybe a little bit of recasting, and also instead of starting with the third game and actually starting with the first game, I think it would be.
It's not based off of any game.
Like chronologically.
Hey, it's not based off of any game.
Well,
I just said it stole something from the third game. There is a element in the third game. You know, the whole, like, the main thing they've been marketing, like, as the biggest action set piece, which is the whole him on the, like, the car goes out, like, handing out the plane. That's from the third game, and that was a lot of fun. That's still one of my highlights of the entire franchise, just because, like, that's a lot of fun.
Wasn't the boat for the last game they did for 4? Wasn't the boat one? Wasn't that one for that one too?
Well, they steal, and I hate to say steal, they adapt a lot of different segments from each of the games that they wanted to do, and it's not that you can't do that.
The first game throughout.
The first game is the only one I would say kind of shows its age. Not that it's not fun. I'm still replaying it. I'm still replaying it, but like it's the only one that does show its age. And I'm all for them doing an original movie. That's fine. It's just, and I'm even down for a prequel. That's okay too. But the problem is just, in my opinion, not the greatest casting in the world, and that is a big problem. And then of course also you just have like just a lot of other errors. And I've been told the editing is really bad. The action's not great. Is it CGI? Yes. Is it shaky cam? Yes. Is it quick cuts? Yeah. And that's not what Uncharted should be. Uncharted should not be shaky quick cam cuts. That's not how you do Uncharted action. Again, if you want a good adaptation. Yeah, go ahead.
Martial arts.
Yeah.
Kind of like cuts.
Not necessarily martial arts cuts, just more. Don't show more of the fight. Don't just basically try to be every other action movie after Jason Bourne.
Yeah.
Which, okay, to be fair, this is a big gripe I've been having. Everybody's like, "Oh, Jason Bourne," and I'm like, yes, that is a lot of shaky cam. That's a lot of quick cuts. Here's how they did it, though. You actually can understand what the fuck is going on. Your brain, it accepts it. It's like, oh yeah, I understand what's going on. Everything else that's tried to imitate it hasn't been. It's like, what the fuck is going on? Like, I like that Marvel got away from that for the most part. Like, especially when they did like their big fight. Like, okay, Civil War. A lot of the action in that movie, especially in the first half, fucking sucks. Oh, I hate it. I despise it. It's so much. Like, here's the thing. I saw that thing in IMAX and 3D. I am not one for motion sickness. I have never had motion sickness until that happened. And I damn near threw up. That's how bad it was. Wow. It was a lot of shaky cam, a lot of like quick cuts. I'm like, I almost threw up. But then it got to where everything else happened, and I'm like, oh, genuinely good. Cool. But Jason Bourne, you can understand what is happening. Whereas everything else, not really. And I'm glad that Hollywood's trying to get away from it, but they still are like, well, this is a movie that's like, we don't want to put 100% faith into it, but we're going to market the fuck out of it so we can at least try to make our money back. Here's a safety net. Let's go. That kind of thing. Like, that's essentially what their action is. And I hate that. But you know, it is what it is. Anyways, on to our first topic for the night. Disney decided to give us a teaser trailer for Chip and Dale Rescue Adventures, or Rescue Rangers, and I'm getting a very big Roger Rabbit vibe. I love it. It is basically, it's giving us, like, from this teaser, who keeps making noise and why should I kill them?
Oh, it's me. Hold on.
Okay, yeah.
I'll go push the dog.
Okay.
I mean, that's one answer. What about the second?
Yes. Why should I kill you? Do you know why?
Because you love him.
You will.
What?
I said, who's making all that noise and why should I kill them?
Well, like, I got that part, but
Yeah.
like,
Do you know why?
because I'm making noise.
Yes. There you go. Very good.
I'm
You
moving
deserve
my-
a
I'm
cookie
moving
as
my
well as a. You deserve a cookie as well as a punch in the face. Anyways, continuing what I was saying. I'm kidding, Brett. You know we love you. Anyways, that being said, your mother and I are getting a divorce.
It's about time. How do I benefit?
Well, if
Why do
you
you
live
have
with
to-
me,
why do you have to
you get all my
reopen that
porn
room?
passwords.
Why do you have to reopen that particular room, man?
Ah, it's fine.
Wow.
Anyways.
Wow.
Oh,
My dad's dead.
Well, here's the thing, son. If you go with me, I give you all the passwords to my porn sites.
Oh my god.
Oh shit.
Rescue Rangers.
I'll let you have a paintball gun.
Rescue Rangers. Come on.
With
Let's
airsoft.
get back on top.
Let's go back to
Anyways,
Let's get
back
back
on the
on
topic. So,
Jesus
from this
Christ.
teaser trailer, it is essentially the Rescue Rangers show did exist. It is its own show. But in this one, it's going to be kind of a hybridization of Roger Rabbit and live action. And so now it's been 30 years since the show has gone on, which all fine and dandy. Now, I will say this. There's one element that a lot of people are bitching about. And that is the word I'm going to use because once I explain this, you may stop bitching. Here's what happened. Okay, so the original voice actors, here's how they had like that chipmunk-esque voice, which is like very high-pitched and everything else like
Wait,
that.
the voice actors?
Yes, they
That's
have
what
John
they're complaining
Mulaney.
about? I thought they would be.
In this movie, they have John Mulaney and Andy Samberg, but they're not speaking in chipmunk voice. They're speaking in their regular voice.
Yeah, but I'm like at the
Here's-
same time,
To be
I'm like,
fair.
I don't. That's not even a big problem for me.
No, it's
but
not.
everybody's like, oh, it's a big trend nowadays. You just cast these popular actors to play these characters, and you don't even get them to change their voice. And I'm like, here's the kicker with Rescue Rangers, it makes sense because the way that they got the chipmunk voice is the actors slowed down with how they talk, and then they would speed up the audio track. That's how they got them to talk. That's why they always talked and everybody's like, oh, well, they're not speaking in their chipmunk voice all the time. I'm like, I think that's just going to be a deep cut reference to how that's going to go. I think that's what they're going to point
I
at.
think it's-
I do love
Let's
that
be honest,
with Monterey
better.
Jack in this trailer, they say, oh, the cheese got the best of me. And it shows like cheese is like a fucking addiction.
Hold on. Let's be honest here.
Mhm.
Who really wants to sit through at this point with the way movies are a 1.5 hour, 2 hours at least movie? of
They would
Chipmunk voice?
slap Alvin and the Chipmunks right there. They would be like, "This is Alvin and the Chipmunks."
Yes.
Yes.
That's why That's why I don't have a problem with their voices. I
Precisely.
did have a slight little problem of the way that they did with like their decision on the animation, but that's just my opinion.
Here's where the
So,
teaser
I mean,
actually
that's
saves
just
it, in my
fair.
opinion. So not only do they point out that I think it's Chip. I think Chip is the one that has the
Indiana Jones.
Makeover.
yeah, no, okay, so Chip isn't Indiana Jones, so then Dale. So they say that Dale, I mean, he literally goes, well, it's no secret that I got CGI surgery. which is clever.
They're embracing fourth wall, so
They're
they're
doing a lot of deep cut
Yes, they do.
references. Yes, and if you watch the teaser, it is really funny. I highly recommend giving it a shot. Just especially if you were a '90s kid. If you were a '90s kid, man, you're gonna love this. I'm an early 2000s kid,
100%.
but I still grew up on a lot of the '90s stuff. So there you go. Reruns were a thing. But that being said, I still feel like this is going to be a lot of fun. Just for the references alone. Also, I am starting to get a little tired of Seth Rogen. Nothing against the guy.
Rogan being in
Yeah.
so many things.
Yes, I'm getting tired of that. But I will say this. His role in this looks really funny. Because I don't know if you guys remember back when they were trying to do all those, like, I'm talking like the days of the Zemeckis studio where we had Polar Express, we had Mars Needs Moms, we had, what was the other one? What was the other one? There was Polar Express, there was Mars Needs Moms. What was another
I'd
one?
rather watch Polar Express, if I'm being honest.
Polar Express has a lot more interesting ideas than Mars Needs Moms. There was another one that he did, his studio did, and I forgot what it was. It was that kind of motion capture CGI movie.
There's a few of them. You got to be more specific.
There's a few of them, but there's one that like Zemeckis' studio did, and it was like before Mars Needs Moms, but after Polar Express. And I don't remember what it
I'm
was.
trying to remember what it is.
Oh, I don't know.
But you know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, I know what you're
I know
talking
what
about.
you're
I just
talking
can't
about. I
remember.
don't know the name or what the movie
Yeah.
is.
Yeah, I
Like
don't
what
either.
the-
But
what
anyways,
the
that
movie
being
is.
said, this is, and also Beowulf was a big thing, which I actually enjoy the Beowulf movie, even though it is a lot of Uncanny Valley. I actually enjoyed it. It was okay, especially as a guy who wasn't the biggest fan of the Beowulf story. I like the movie. The movie's okay. Like, Beowulf's not my...
I just never understood the whole background story behind him and
Well,
stuff.
Beowulf was
For
like
some
one of
reason, I
the
just couldn't get
oldest
into it.
tales. That's the thing. Well, Beowulf is one of the oldest tales that is out there. One of them. Especially from Norse and Viking lore. Like, Beowulf that was his thing. It was like one of the epic tales. And I actually genuinely enjoy it. If you want a more close in line adaptation that with a more realistic edge to it, I would highly recommend The 13th Warrior with Antonio Banderas.
This is the second time in the past 2 days somebody's talked about that movie.
The 13th Warrior, it's actually really good. I watched it in English class. I enjoy it. Even though I was like, are we sure this isn't rated R? My teacher's like, no, it's PG-13. And I looked it up. I'm like, this is rated R. She goes, no, it's not. I'm like, I just saw someone get
It's
beheaded.
rated R.
You know, I'm like, I just saw someone get beheaded and blood splatter.
Why do you think
This
that's
is rated
for? Why
R.
are you gonna say school?
To be fair, these days the rating system has been
Oh, and this came out in the
It-
90s,
it's all
so
over
I
the
don't.
place.
Yeah, this came out in the 90s, but it is a really good movie. If you've never seen it, I would recommend
If
it.
we're being honest, there was a lot of PG PG movies that were supposed to be PG-13. If we're
Well,
being
that's
honest.
whole
There's a
different. That's a
lot.
whole different story. Honestly, I actually give credit to those PG movies. Like, if they were made today, yeah, they would be rated PG-13. Okay, you want to know what my biggest gripe about PG today? Why is films
What?
like Frozen
You don't get it?
and like Inside Out? Why is Inside Out not G? There is nothing in Inside Out that could not be rated G.
The only reason I can think of is because some people on the ratings board might consider some of the imagery a bit scary for the younger audiences, which, don't get me wrong, I disagree with.
I hate the
But you gotta
NPA
think
with
of
a
it in a
burning
logical-
passion.
But you got to think of it. You got to think of it in a long kind of like way of the perspective of like there are kids who are afraid of a lot of things, and
Have you not seen
They must-
90% of 80s kids movies? What the fuck? Dude,
to be
Watership Down
to
is
be
rated
fair, this is
PG.
a new-
We are talking about a whole
a
different
new
generation.
generation. We're talking about a new generation. We're not talking about our
And they're a
generation.
bunch of
We're talking about a
pussies.
new generation that can't handle.
How did we
Fair
get
point.
here from
Fair point.
Rescue Rangers?
Because technically
okay.
we're bringing up stuff from the 90s. But anyways, continue.
to be fair, a lot of stuff has changed. Not just the motive of how kids perceive things, just everything in general with movies and video games. So, granted, I mean, still to this day, we still have kids. Like, I know I'm getting a little sidetracked, but I'll get back to it. My whole point of it is like movies, video games, like ratings in general. No one cares. There's kids out there sneaking in those movies to go watch them. So, or buy whatever, whether that be COD or Grand Theft Auto. So,
Fair enough.
are you really that surprised that little kids are being scared of stuff that's not even like real or like?
That's
because
the
I mean,
point,
to be fair,
though.
like
You're supposed to be scared of something, that way you can face it fucking forward. Like, that's the point. Don't get me wrong. I'm 22. I still have a fear of heights and snakes. That's something I will probably never get over.
snakes,
However, that being fuck snakes, yeah.
I'm just joking.
No, fuck snakes. But anyways, that being said, there's just here's the thing. Who Framed Roger Rabbit? You can still show to kids, and there's a lot of stuff that, yes, will require parental guidance in it. Primarily Judge Doom. Judge Doom is fucking. There's so many innuendos. Judge Doom is terrifying. You can fight me on that. He is 100% the reason why I shit my pants at the age of 8. No, I'm kidding. I didn't actually shit my pants, but I like.
Theaters, right?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Here's the thing. Who Framed Roger Rabbit was the whole reason why Touchstone Pictures ever existed. Because Disney was like, we really want to make this. However, this deviates so far from our brand. Let's just create a whole new production house that we can put it under. So think about it. Anything with Touchstone Pictures is a Disney film. Meaning everybody's like, oh, Disney's going to make their first rated R movie. I'm like, technically they already have.
You know, the funny thing is that they never
Con Air is a fucking Disney movie.
They never
Con
put
Air is a
Roger
Disney
Rabbit
movie.
on Disney.
It's on Disney Plus now.
No, I know.
Why do we
but,
keep interrupting
in the
him?
beginning? No, but in the beginning, they put it on Cartoon Network. It was always aired in Cartoon Network, which was always hilarious to me.
Yeah. Well, Disney owned the rights, but it just like deviated so far from their image.
It fit. So
yeah. But no, I mean, dude, that literally has Eddie gets a pack of cigarettes from kids. Think about that. And that movie is rated PG.
When we were little, we had like the candy cigarettes.
Oh, you can still get the candy cigarettes. Like, dude, I just saw them at a freaking gas station the other day. But that being said, you know, that's the whole thing. Is I feel genuinely that back onto this. This film may very well be. Oh right, I was bringing up the Seth Rogen character. So Seth Rogen is playing this kind of realistic CGI character, and he's like, you know, he's like, I am looking at you, and it's like, my guy, we're down here, and he's like, it looks like I'm looking at you, and he's like, he just goes like this as he's just. And I'm like, that's pretty funny. I like that. That's genuinely it's clever. Just like the CGI surgery, just like the fact that cheese is like a drug addiction for cartoon animals. That was funny. I genuinely laughed a lot in this teaser alone, which for a teaser, that's fucking good. Like, just man, that's crazy. And I love the animation style for this. We're mixing CGI, we're mixing 2D animation. We're doing so much, and that is phenomenal. I bravo fucking O for that. Like, I think even if this film ends up sucking, I think this movie is going to be a visual treat regardless. It's going to be kind of like Disney's Avatar. I think it's going to be a Disney Avatar situation. It's going to be it could be a terrible story, but it will be such a visual treat that will hold up that it works.
I still think it's going to be a great movie.
Oh,
like,
no
matter,
I hope it's a good movie.
Yeah. no matter how much I'll gripe about like the animation choice and like the whole like decision on how they're going at it, I still think I'll enjoy watching it. I'm not gonna refuse to watch it. I think it's still good. I still it's like I think it'll hit the numbers where it's supposed to be, not like too high, but just kind of like
this
an
is going
average
straight to
amount.
Disney Plus, by the way.
Yeah. So
Sorry for those of you that were interested in maybe having it in theaters. But yeah, I'm. Any more thoughts, comments, concerns on the Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers teaser trailer?
honestly, I think we'll just have to wait and see whenever it comes out. So I mean,
No, I
agree.
100% agree.
I agree.
Maintain a holding pattern.
It's like you guys were saying. If it's like a Roger Rabbit type movie, I think it might be good.
Oh, yeah.
Roger Rabbit was fucking great.
Well, Roger
in my
Rabbit
opinion.
also shows up in this trailer too, so
Yeah.
So I like
doing the Roger
Yeah.
Rabbit, actually, believe it or not, he's doing the
Like I
dance
said-
he's
like I
doing
said,
is the Roger Rabbit.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
If they're doing a Roger Rabbit-esque type of movie, then it's gonna be a fucking great fucking movie.
Oh
It's
yeah.
gonna bring back a lot of fucking memories, but it's gonna be a great memory altogether.
yeah.
Well, especially since the last Roger Rabbit style movie we saw, I think, was Looney Tunes Back in Action.
yes, Looney Tunes Back in Action was
And Space Jam.
Was it?
cartoon.
No, Space Jam
Yeah.
Legacy.
No. It was Tom and Jerry, then Space Jam.
8.
There you go.
Because
The
I
Tom
forgot-
and
I
Jerry
forgot
world
that they
made
did
no
fair,
sense.
Tom and Jerry.
Bro, the Tom and
To be
Jerry
fair,
world
I
made no
didn't-
sense in that movie.
To be fair, I didn't watch New Legacy.
I didn't
At
care.
that point, I was just
Yeah,
Yes.
I didn't
Honestly,
care. I was like, I
I'm
looked
still
at
on
it,
the
and I
train
was
of like Space Jam is a bad movie. Not that it's not that there isn't nostalgia in there, but it's like Space Jam's a pretty fucking bad movie, man. I'm telling you right now, it's bad.
I mean,
The original. Both.
I mean, when you think about it, it doesn't hold up. It really hold up as good as it used to.
Yeah. Now I will
When
say
I was
this: the
little.
second one is worse, but the second one I think
Yeah.
I think the second one falls under definitely falls under the banner of so bad it's good. Because you can find genuine entertainment out of it. I mean, like, apparently there's a point where a kid literally gets hit in the face with a basketball talking about spaghetti and meatballs, and you just have LeBron James, love him or hate him, he literally just goes, "Ooh, my favorite." I'm like, it's
What
just
kind of
like
line
so
was
out
that?
of, it's so out of nowhere.
It's random ass dialogue
Oh
coming out of nowhere.
yeah.
Apparently.
Well, and it's just like this, like it is acting is pretty bad. I mean, like I think they knew what they were doing, and that's the biggest thing. Even though I don't like LeBron James, I genuinely don't like him. But that being said, let's go ahead and go into our next topic, and we're going from one bad thing to another.
oh yeah.
All right. So, according to new reports, we are apparently going to be getting a BioShock movie. But here's the kicker:
Fuck yeah.
it's coming from Netflix.
Okay.
Look,
Please.
look, you got my
End my
hopes up,
suffering.
and then you said Netflix, bro.
There's
Don't get me wrong. I
And my
like
suffering.
certain Netflix movies. Don't get me wrong. I do. There's certain ones that are good and certain ones that are bad.
Oh, one that we
But
could have brought up and
how
now
big
showing, but I
BioShock
decided
fan?
not to. They
I'm a big
also
old-
go ahead.
I'm a big old BioShock fan. My only problem is I really hope they don't fuck it up, man. I'd be really genuinely upset if they fuck up the BioShock movie.
Right.
Which they
Here's
might.
my thing. Here's my thing. BioShock would be a difficult game. Sorry, I
You're
can
good.
speak English. I swear. It would be a difficult game to translate into a movie unless you wanted to explore the lore of the games
BioShock.
themselves instead of the setting that the games take place in as it happens.
And that's the other problem about it. I'd rather. The problem with it is that now that I think about it, now what Ali just that go on what Ali just said is the settings. The settings, because there's like there's two ocean settings, the first two games, and then you got the last game that's in the
This
sky.
one is going to be based off the first two games. I don't know if it's mostly based off the first one, but I know that it is taking place in Rapture. So
then I think it should be pretty.
I think
It should be
visually
pretty
it should not be
important.
hard. Like from a visual standpoint, which is a big part of BioShock, I will agree. If you can get the visuals down, you at least will win over some people. The problem comes down to the
They
lore.
need to do it right.
Yeah,
They
that's
need
the
to
thing.
do it right. If they don't have like,
Mhm.
if they slip up once, like, well, here's the thing too. I think if you're doing a video game movie, you have to at least be somewhat right, same path. Like, you can modify it,
Mhm.
but you got to do it in a smart way. You can't just like modify it to where it doesn't make sense. But
Mhm.
they just need to be smart about their decision making when it comes to BioShock, because BioShock has been a beloved franchise for who knows how long, and I'm a big fan of, and probably a bunch of y'all, if y'all have played it or not,
I've played all three.
I
and
love
I'm
BioShock. I love
I love the
BioShock.
fuck out of it,
So
bro.
if they fuck it up, I'ma speak out. So
You
Well,
guys
there's
can
gonna be
love or
plenty
hate
of
me
us
for
who will.
this. I know the importance of BioShock. I own the BioShock games.
we're about to cancel. We're about to cancel.
I
him.
have
We're
not
about to
finished
cancel him.
the BioShock games.
Bro, finish them.
I know.
Finish
I'm
the
sorry.
games.
They're on my
Love the
agenda to
shit
do, but I don't have the time for it right now. Also, I'm replaying Uncharted. But
Of course you are.
hey, Uncharted's a fun game. You can't talk shit about not finishing Uncharted because you haven't even started. So fuck you.
Will you kindly?
I have played through the Uncharted games so many times. I love them. Anyway, BioShock.
BioShock, yes.
Okay,
No, the
don't get me
Uncharted games
started.
are fun. Yes. BioShock, here's the thing. I agree with you guys that yes, you need to get the lore down because I have watched videos on it. I do know what happens. Even if I don't complete a game, I do want to know what happens. I do want to at least get the idea of why it's so popular. So if I don't complete a game, that doesn't mean that I don't like it. It just means that I eventually either I lose some interest or I get to the point where I'm like, I don't think I'm going to complete this. So let me go ahead and figure out what the game is about, and then I can understand why people like it. Because that's usually how I do it. Like, honestly, that's how I do. Unless I genuinely, really, really 100% get it, like, sucked into the game. It took me 3 attempts to like Uncharted, to be perfectly honest.
It took me 2 attempts. Play the last game and watch the first couple times. Watch other people play the first game. No, repeat that. Sorry. Play the first game and play the last game. I got into Uncharted. Do I like Uncharted? Man, it's so-so.
You gotta
To me,
play
it's
2 and
so-so.
3. 2 and 3 are some of the best Uncharted games. The first one is a little groggy, I will agree. The first one's not the best game in the world. The second game is a lot of fun, and the third game is one of my favorites. The fourth game is really, really good though. Lost Legacy's okay.
Yeah, that's what I was gonna say. I heard a
It's like you
lot
say, it's
about. I heard a lot of good things about the fourth.
The fourth game is a visual masterpiece. Also, I love how they do. It is essentially the same game. It feels like the same game, but they do add a few more mechanics, and I do like that.
It's the same thing with BioShock. You play the first 2 games, is just like eh. No, the first 2 games are great. The last game,
It's kinda
game was okay. It's kind of but the
It's
first
okay,
2 are
but,
fucking on
like,
point.
BioShock Infinite is such a like pleasing like in like a scenic slash like just the whole setting is very beautiful.
Right. All right. But anyways, any more thoughts, comments, concerns on the fact that Netflix is doing a BioShock movie? I want to make that
Netflix, don't
very
fuck
clear.
up my fucking game, bro.
You
I
fuck
don't
it up,
fucking
you're gonna have a
outwork
ride on your hands. You're already
fucking
losing
game.
subscribers as is. Just saying. But from one subscription service to another, it's official. We are going to be getting, if I can move my fucking mouse here, we are going to be getting the Punisher series is going to probably be moving, or isn't going to probably, it is going to be moving to Hulu in the United States and Disney Plus Stars in everywhere else. But that being said, I don't know how to feel about this because not a lot of people are going to know
They need
that.
to do it right.
They need to do it. Well, I think
They
they
need
are.
to do it
I know
right.
they're bringing back John Bernthal, so that's the good thing. And it looks like it's going to be the same. It's going to be the same.
You could possibly better than John Bernthal.
I will say there's some people I feel like could pull it off, but John Barthenol is definitely one of the best. I wouldn't say that like the Punisher is necessarily a character that only one person can play. For right now, yes, that is John Barthenol, but I have a feeling that there's going to be. Honestly, here's the thing. I think Dave Bautista would be a fantastic Punisher. Really
Dave
think
Bautista-
about Dave
that would-
Bautista
that would be
could be a
something to see.
phenomenal Punisher. Like,
That would be something to see. Yes.
yeah, I would love to see a Dave Bautista Punisher, but
Off
he's already
topic,
Drax.
I think,
Yeah.
I think
War Zone,
Dave Bautista,
another
out of all the wrestling
Mhm.
like ex wrestlers / like now actors, I think he's probably one of the best. Like I feel like he should have a lot more roles than what a lot of people perceive him to.
Well,
not
love or
have.
hate,
I feel like he should have more.
Yeah. Love or hate Blade Runner for 2049, love or hate Dune, which actually a lot of people do like Dune. But love or hate Blade Runner 2049, honestly, he was a good part of that movie. He was definitely, it's cool to see him kind of be this like dramatic role, not really just this kind of big bombastic action role. And then it was also really cool to see him in this kind of pretty intimidating fucking role in Dune. Don't get me wrong, he definitely gets outshined by Stellan Skarsgård, for sure.
But he played a Doom movie.
Dune.
So you tell me? So you tell me two former WWE wrestlers have played in a Doom movie?
No, not Doom, not Doom, not this game, not the one that's on my teeth. I'm talking about
Just
Dune.
casually stretch the collar.
Yeah,
I
I'm
wasn't
talking
really
about
okay
Dune.
Doing that type of show.
Yeah. Okay, I'm talking about Dune. Dune.
Oh, Dune? Yeah, I don't know what that is.
It's like one of the heaviest influences of. Also, we lost Lewis. Oh, there he is. It's one of the heaviest influences of Star Wars and like sci-fi as a whole. It's one of the most popular sci-fi novels of all time. Also one of the most insanely difficult to adapt novels of all time. But that being said, I think Dave Bautista is interesting. But back onto the normal topic. Well, not the normal topic, but back onto the actual topic. I feel like there's one of two ways that they can approach this. If they're going to basically just continue the Netflix series, there's really no other way to do that but just take the Netflix show and plop it on there, which is all fine and good. I'm okay with that. The problem is I don't think they're gonna do that. And here's the reason why. Is because I mostly think it comes down to, I think Lewis is having technical difficulties here, folks. But I think it mostly comes down to a lot of the factors of, I think Disney's going to want to do their own thing, but just by tweaking it a little. So I think that maybe we can get a continuation of what all is going on with small minor tweaks here and there. Like, I think the costumes are going to change. I would be shocked if Danny Rand is not recasted. That one could honestly just be rebooted and it's all of its entirety, and I'd be okay with that.
Yeah.
Iron Fist was not the best out of all those.
I love the character. The show needed work.
I feel like the Iron Fist could have been a little bit more better with the story and everything. I think
Season 2
the
got
character-
good.
the character was fine. I just think they should have done a little bit better job with all four series in general. So
Well, I think Daredevil and Jessica Jones are like hands down the best series. Nothing against the Punisher. Like the Punisher, each season had its own problems, in my opinion. Don't get me wrong, Daredevil season 2 was not my favorite season. It tried to balance way too much, and that was a problem.
you forget about Luke Cage too.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Luke Cage. Here's the thing. Luke Cage
What was that
was
again, sir?
okay. So the first season. Here's my problem with the first season. It had me. It really had me. Then they killed Cottonmouth, and then I kind of lost a little bit of interest. But it still had me.
Fair point.
Then, and this is the real kicker. Then it just goes into, it's like staying relatively realistic. It's like it's doing all this. Goes full on comic book, and usually I don't mind something going full on comic book when you give me something like that and you go full on comic book, that's where I'm like, okay, this is a cartoon. Like, oh, he has this special suit that makes him just as strong as the hero. I'm like, really? We're doing this? Yeah. And my problem with the second season. Second season went on way too damn long. I'm like, bro, we're not done yet? And we're only halfway? What? I'm like, bro, this could have been like 6 or 7 episodes. It's been tight, done, all the way, like just perfect.
It felt, did it feel like a Supernatural to you? Like episode season, essentially?
Here's the thing. I think it flipped it did another thing where it flipped its head halfway through the season. And that is a problem. Okay. I think that the writing on Luke Cage could have been a lot better. Could have been a lot more tight.
Okay, to be fair, just want to say this out. To be fair, I'm not dissing Supernatural. I'm just comparing it to the length of the season. So I love Supernatural. Just wanted to...
yeah, but no, at least Supernatural kept usually kept the same tone throughout each and every one of its seasons. Usually, I still stand by the fact that Supernatural's first 5 seasons are the hands down some of the best television we've ever gotten. Everything beyond that is hit and miss. That being said,
to be fair, wasn't it supposed to end after the 5th season?
It was. I'm a big defender on it. Should have ended after season 5, but it didn't. Now it's finally over, and honestly, it's fine. Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. If it ended at season 5, we wouldn't have gotten the fan fiction episode, which is one of my favorites. But
true. Or the Scooby-Doo.
Which
the Scooby-Natural, yeah.
Episode?
The one at the school.
Because I've heard there's 2 at least.
There's a Scooby-Doo, there's a fan fiction one, and then there's one that's like
Scooby-Natural, yeah. Too. Yeah. Oh, there is one where they come into our world.
Yes.
Yeah. Like, what the hell's a Misha? That was really funny. That was one of my favorite lines in that episode. It's like, Misha. The hell's a Misha? Yeah.
To me, when it comes down to everything, when it comes down to stuff like those TV shows, the Marvel TV show on Netflix, I really didn't like them. I love Daredevil. I like Jessica Jones. I thought it was really good. That she had a good story background. I didn't like Luke Cage because I couldn't really understand it very well. Punisher, to me, the Punisher was more of a full-blown, not mindless killer, but he had a reason to kill mafia members. This last one didn't go into killing mafia members. This dude just went straight killing, like talking about his war past, and basically that's it.
Yeah. Well, here's the problem about getting a full-blown adaptation of the Punisher, is there are so many points where Frank Castle just snaps and he says it's all black and white, there is no gray. He gets to a point where he literally just starts shooting like freaking petty thieves. Like literally they could be stealing a candy bar to go feed their sister and he shoots them. Like it's gotten to that point in the comics. Like Castle is fucking insane. But everybody likes him just because it's like, oh well, he has a tragic background. He's a cool character, you know, like he's just an ultimate badass, and nothing against that. He is, I agree. But that becomes a problem when trying to portray him as, oh yeah, this is a guy you want to watch a show about. Like that's the problem. Is I mean, you can only do it so many times, to where it's like, oh well, yeah, here's your reason why you need to start killing again. It's like, no.
And especially in this day and age when people are taking that kind of message and running with it.
Yeah, exactly. That's the problem. And I get that. And that's why I think that the Punisher is one of the hardest characters to ever adapt. At least beyond his first, like at least beyond the story of like, oh, his family was killed, he's going after the people that killed him. Like beyond that, that makes sense. That's fine. You can do that, but you can only do that so many times. And then it gets to a point where I think he works better as like a cameo character instead of someone that has his own show.
Because the minute you go beyond the revenge story, you are opening up so many doors that probably shouldn't be opened in the first place.
Oh, I agree. But what are y'all's thoughts on it going to Hulu instead of Disney Plus? Because apparently here's the thing, when I hear that, I'm like, okay, but it is taking place in the MCU, and they say yes. but they don't give it an official rating, which makes me think if they're putting it on Hulu, they don't want it on Disney Plus, which makes me think that's where we're going to be getting all these Netflix shows that were rated TVMA and shit. That's where we're going to be getting like all these like higher rated shows when it comes to like violence, gore, and everything else like that. But these characters still exist. I do. I think it will be rated TVMA. I think it's going to be TVMA, and that's how we're also going to get a rated R Blade movie.
Well, wasn't Blade already a rated R Blade movie?
Well, no, I'm talking about MCU Blade with Mahershala Ali playing him.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Then, yeah, I believe that too. I think, you know what? I agree with you, actually. Since Hulu is bought by Disney.
Hulu's owned by Disney,
So,
yes.
yeah, Hulu is owned by Disney. They're going to more likely put all the movies that they can't show on Disney because how rated R it is.
Uh-huh.
And they're just going to
they
throw
already
it
are
to
kind of doing that.
Hulu.
Like, Deadpool 1 and 2 are on
They can do that.
Hulu. I believe Logan is on Hulu.
Well, isn't that what Disney Plus Star is?
That's what it
outside
is
the
over
US?
outside the US. It's Disney 18 Plus. So
Yeah. Why? My question is, why don't they just do the same thing in the US?
because that way they can at least get
I think-
they can at least try to get some Disney Plus, Hulu, ESPN subscriptions.
Yeah, they make more money for strategizing instead of just putting all their eggs in one basket. They can make more contracts and more money off of putting it somewhere else than putting it in their main.
Remember, we're talking about Disney. Disney's
Right.
known
Capitalism. Got it.
Disney's known for
capitalism.
money.
Absolutely. All right, I think we lost Brett. Sorry, I am
Maybe
really
let's talk
tired
again.
here, folks. All right.
Maybe we should move on. Get something.
All right, so on to our next topic. This week we also got the official trailer for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. And this trailer,
boy, here we go.
let me tell you about this trailer.
Yeah.
Goddamn. I'm just saying, goddamn. That is a handsome looking trailer there.
Bro,
I am a little annoyed that
screen-
this is like the third freaking different design for the title card we've gotten. That's annoying. But we also got a really cool poster, and that poster has a lot of Easter eggs. Primarily Deadpool.
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah.
You
So
know,
I
it's
think
funny
Ryan Reynolds is going to be
seeing-
playing.
I was like,
Mhm.
it was kind of awesome to see Scarlet Witch
Oh, yeah.
in the trailer because after all the aftermath with WandaVision, it's like, yes, finally some answers are like about to be like
Yeah.
answered and stuff.
I think she is going to be the
personally-
villain in this.
Personally, I do not mind the wait.
No, I don't either.
They've given us enough between WandaVision and now to make that wait bearable.
Mhm.
And now for us to actually be getting some answers. The anticipation has built to a point where we are ready for it, and they are giving it to us without letting it boil over.
I agree. I
And
think
it's just looking up anyway.
I personally think that this might reset it, and this might upset some people. Eternals was not a box office smash that they hoped it would be.
I didn't like it.
I
was
didn't
okay.
either. It was
So-
okay.
I enjoyed it.
It was
reason why I did
okay,
enjoy
but it's
it
just
was
your typical
because
Marvel
of-
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I
yeah,
personally
yeah.
think
Shang-Chi.
Shang-Chi was okay. I enjoyed Shang-Chi. But here's
I
the thing,
really
is I
enjoyed-
think that I don't think they're gonna make Eternals canon anymore. I don't, and here's the reason why. Is there's some big ass ramifications that came out of the Eternals.
The Celestials Celestials using fucking black holes to travel in the existence,
That
and
yes.
just casually
the
opening
fact
one
that we
in
have
in
a
the vicinity of the Earth.
the fact that we have a Marvel Celestial basically breaking out of the Earth. I think, to be perfectly honest, and I know this might upset some people, I think that's the reason why they let her go balls to the wall. The director, I think Chloe Zhao is, I think, her name. They let her go balls to the wall with this movie. Is I genuinely think that they're gonna make it not canon. I think they're gonna like tease some elements of it, but I don't think the vast majority of it is going to be canon.
I kind of feel like that's hard to do when.
Oh.
Multiverse
And
of Madness
all
can
the-
reset it though. That's
Precisely.
the thing.
That is the beauty of multiverse theory in fiction. If you have done something in the past in a particular installation of a fictional universe that is known to have multiverse involved in it, you can just say that was a different universe. We already know that the MCU that we are a part of is a different universe from the comics.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, because of the whole What If show too. I mean,
Right.
the What If show is the greatest example.
That Tom Holland's Spider-Man in and of itself is the biggest indicator that we are in a different universe.
I think
No,
we're
I'm
still in the
saying
same
is,
universe with
like-
No Way Home. I think it's just that, like, I think that's going to be the part that leads into Multiverse of Madness.
Well, yeah, I agree.
Mhm.
I think what Doctor Strange did to start off everything, and Peter Parker's involvement in all that, because geez, stop asking questions.
Yeah.
Opened the door,
Oh yeah.
and it only takes a split second for anything out there of significant power to just stick their foot in the door. But I
My only
love.
problem with the only problem with the MCU is just that sometimes I wish that they would legit go off the comics. So making Peter Parker.
I mean, I understand
Hold
where
on.
you're coming.
I do get it, yes. However, you have to acknowledge the fact that some of the comics that they would be drawing from would not fly with things today.
Yeah, and especially
Yeah,
the
that's true.
fact of how people are very like stingy about everything being correctly portrayed in the comics too, which is another thing that a lot of people are very passionate about. It is going to be very hard to convince all those people who are very dedicated to, if they don't watch the movies or series, just go with like read the comics. It's going to be very, very hard to kind of turn them to like actually watch the show or whatever movie that comes out, because they want it to be very authentic and very correct to the source material that it's coming from in the first place.
Not
hey,
just
Brett.
that. Not just that, but you also have to acknowledge the fact that the different comic book fans appreciate different versions of the same character.
100%.
For sure.
Yeah.
That is
True.
going to so trying to draw from any of the comics is going to just draw a huge generation war.
Yeah.
I will say
Fair
this.
I don't know. My opinion on it is the fact that I just feel like they should have made it where Peter Parker does like they kept everything where Peter Parker, they find out about him being Spider-Man, but instead of it being what's his name, Doctor Strange, it was Mephisto.
Here's the problem with that is China has a very big thing about devils and skulls and everything else like that. And Mephisto is a very devil-like character. This is also the reason why we got...
Ghost Rider and stuff like that.
What's up?
When it was going over there, you know, like you know how like Mephisto plays in Ghost Rider, the Nixon one, the dude in Taken. I think that's who that is.
Liam Neeson? Liam Neeson was never in Ghost Rider. What are you talking about?
It was
You're talking about Nicolas
Who
Cage?
played? Yeah,
Nicolas Cage was Ghost Rider.
Yeah, but that was completely different, which, by the way, we might be getting a cameo. That would be awesome. I would love a Nicolas Cage cameo.
And also there was a Ghost Rider in Shield too, which that's where I'm at. That's where I was at, which also was awesome.
I forgot how early it
Agents
was
of
in the
S.H.I.E.L.D.
show that was in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of Shield. That was season 4.
Yeah, I forgot how early it was, too.
I forgot
I remember them
what was going
marketing
on
the
with this
shit out of it. I'm like, bro, that's a pretty badass looking Ghost Rider. Too bad I don't give a shit about Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., though. But anyways, back onto Multiverse of Madness. We do also get a small bit of the Illuminati, which are very heavily hinted towards. Of course, we also hear Patrick Stewart. We do hear Patrick Stewart now. Of course, we don't know if it's going to be Professor X, but come on, it's going to be Professor X. They've been feeding us fan service ever since because they saw how well No Way Home worked. So
yeah,
I'm also excited to possibly see. Yeah, I'm also excited to possibly see not only John Krasinski maybe being a variant version of Mr. Fantastic, but also there is a possibility of a variant Iron Man played by Tom Cruise, and this is going to be Superior Iron Man, hence the reason we see the Ultron bots. We could also be seeing Captain Carter. That would be interesting.
Yes.
And I think that the Mordo we're seeing in this trailer, I genuinely think that is... I do think that that's a variant of Mordo. I think that's a Mordo that becomes Sorcerer Supreme and also sits on the Illuminati Council.
As cool as that would be.
That's what I was going to ask. Who do you guys think is going to be
As
on
cool
this
as that would be.
Mm-hmm.
I want it to be our Mordo because they left that hanging for way too freaking long.
They did. However, I don't know. I would have thought that Mordo would have done something by now. That's
Precisely.
my thing. So I don't know. I'm just saying, like, before. I'm saying he would have done it before, but
so much has happened, and there has not been one single mention of what Mordo's been doing throughout that time.
Yeah.
Mordo.
But the guy who ends up like being he's the guy played by Chiwetel Ejiofor. Yeah. Which great actor, by the way. I don't know why I'm having a hard time taking him seriously with the dreads. Just saying. I don't know what it is, but it's whatever. That being said, any more thoughts, comments, concerns on the Multiverse of Madness trailer / poster that we got?
Just pure excitement.
Yep.
Looking forward to
it comes out really good, like the rest of the recent Marvel movies, except Eternals. I hope it does a lot better than what Eternals did.
Yeah, Eternals and Black Widow were kind of.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
I think they're gonna do a very good job with it. I don't think I think no one has seen any probably concerning things. So I mean, time will tell if that changes, but I think they're on the right path with at least this movie. So
well, I think the problem with the Eternals was that for a lot of people who their only connection to the Marvel Universe in and of itself is the movies, that just came out of nowhere. Heck, even for some of the fans of the comics, myself included, it was my first interaction with the Eternals.
The Eternals was such an obscure freaking reference too.
They had that what's it called, that timeline, and I saw that Eternals was there when they announced it. So I mean,
it was already planned. Yeah. It was already planned, but it was like such a weird reference. It was such a weird idea.
I feel like they should have had more time with it. I feel like it shouldn't have been a movie. I feel like it should have been a series because of how many stories completely with all the other characters that were in there.
I agree. I definitely feel like it should have been a series as well. My biggest thing
with all the flashbacks.
Oh yeah, that was the biggest problem. It was like, oh cool, we're finally getting. Oh wait, no, we got to do a flashback. Oh okay, so that's interesting. Oh wait, flashback. Come on.
My thing is though, the fact that when people complain about it is the fact that didn't they talk about it inside Guardians of the Galaxy? They brought up
Celestials. They did not bring up the Eternals. There's a difference.
The only thing we had in connection to anything in the Celestials movie, in a connection to the Eternals movie, was the Celestials.
That is true.
And even then, in the Eternals movie, they never really got into the Celestials themselves. They got into where they came from, but we've got the one. We know what they're up to.
All right.
What about the rest?
Okay. So be on the lookout for Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness in theaters May 6th of this year. On to our next topic. We got our first official sets of posters for Stranger Things Season 4, as well as our first actual hold on one second. I'm looking it up. I'm looking up the dates. Yeah. Okay, so apparently season 4 is going to be released in 2 parts. The first part is coming out on May 27th and the other on July 1st. So, let me go ahead and change back to what we usually do. Anyways,
curious on what other next timeline of the whole entire year of what's next, because I can't remember. Like we started with the first season like in early 80s, 50. I can't remember
early
quite
80s.
exactly. I know it was somewhere. Yeah. So I'm curious on how further on they're gonna skip through everything. If we're still gonna stay around there, or if it's gonna go one number up. Another thing, I think they took a little bit too long to release this season, but I understand because of COVID and other stuff that wasn't out of control. I get that. I think it won't hit the way it was hitting when it first came out, and the third season. The hype of the third season too. So I think if you still love it and you still want to watch it just to watch it, I think it'll be fine. I just don't think it'll hit the numbers as it used to, unless it blows us away with the whole entire season. I mean I have my doubts. This is my opinion. I could be wrong. I think we're not going to see that much traction in it unless there's something memorable out of this season. So.
Yeah,
that's true.
I'm concerned we're hitting the point with Stranger Things where they might be sticking around for too long.
I think that's why they're wrapping it up with this season. Is I think Netflix realizes the curtain's closing on this. A lot of the actors want to go do their own things. But I think that we are going to go into the late 80s, maybe early 90s. I don't think we're going to be doing a big ass time jump. I do think this one is going to involve time travel, though.
Oh God.
Which, well, no. Hear me out. Whenever I say this, here's what I mean by time travel. I think that Hopper, the way that he's alive, is that whole thing sent him back in time. I think that's why he's in Russia. He's in Russia back in time. I think that's why we're dealing with that. And I think he's like stuck in maybe the 70s. Maybe.
Not gonna draw a parallel to Black Widow 2 there.
No. But that being said, I do feel that that's what's going on, is that he went back in time. That's why and I think that's what this whole season is going to be. I think it's going to be the search for Hopper.
I mean, when you rewatch the cutscene, I mean, he's in that prison cell, and then the Demogorgon's there too. So it's like,
but it's a young Demogorgon too. It's more of like the Demodogs instead of anything else. But it's kind of like a cross between the Demogorgon and the Demodogs. So I'm Doug Dimmadome, and these are my Demodogs. Say hi, Dimmadome, Demodogs. It's like
Dimmadome, homestead with the Dimmadome.
Yeah. Anyways, that being said,
we are having problems if my mind's wandering.
Anyways, yeah. But that being said, I here's the thing: is I think they have a chance of sticking the landing on this series, because season 3 was okay, but it got a little too goofy for my taste. Yeah, season 3 wasn't exactly my favorite season, but it was entertaining as is. I still binged it. Just because I have such a very big appreciation for the first season of Stranger Things, mostly because I originally did not give it a chance. I was like, oh, this looks cool, and I watched it like an idiot. I watched the first episode in a solid dark room with barely any light by myself at midnight. Midnight. So I immediately was like, nope, I'm done. And I didn't give it a shot until it started getting a lot of traction. People were like, oh, bro, you gotta watch it.
I didn't like it. It just didn't.
Yeah. And I get it. It's not going to be for everybody. It's definitely not an everybody show. So like I don't
It has
blame
its
it.
own charm.
It does. Mostly, I think I think the first 2 seasons mostly appealed to horror fans. The 3rd season, I think, tried to go a little too mainstream. Just because I think it tried to go for like
I
the
feel
80s
it's
kind of.
nostalgic.
Yeah, it got way
It's
too
just
80s nostalgia.
If I'm being honest.
The first season of Stranger Things did a really good job of saying, hey, we take place in the 80s, but we're gonna feel like we take place in the 80s. Not necessarily, oh, we're gonna say, oh yeah, we take place in the 80s, you know, like beat you over the head with it. That was season 2 and 3. Season 1, and even to a lesser extent, season 2 was okay about it. Season 2 is where they started really hitting it on the head, particularly with the Ghostbusters uniforms and everything else like that. But I will say the nostalgia bait really didn't start until Stranger Things became popular, and then every other studio was like, oh, we need to start baiting nostalgia fans, and that's the problem.
Yeah.
I think the first season of Stranger Things, it does a good job of saying, hey, you remember this element, hey, you know this element from like anything from Spielberg or anything like that. So like we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna let you kind of relive some of that, but we're also gonna be an entertaining as hell show. And that's where I feel like this first season is still some of the best television I've ever seen. And I don't throw that around lightly. I mean, that's something I never throw around lightly. I usually don't have favorites. It's kind of like there's elements of Game of Thrones that I say is some of the best television I've ever seen. Like the Battle of the Bastards was one of my favorite fucking episodes, just because the entire thing's a fucking battle and it's fucking awesome. You know, that's the biggest thing about TV is it gives you an experience, but it can also go on too long. My main point is I feel like Stranger Things at this point has gone on too long. It's become way too mainstream, and that's the problem.
I think at the same time, it's just not just the hype, but also the fact that COVID hit and.
I'm not saying COVID
Stranger
didn't
Things,
affect
but
it.
I think The Witcher and a lot of other projects kind of backed up. I think Witcher is still doing a good job when it came to its release and how it handled. I think people are still going to be watching it. I don't think the hype killed it. I think it's still there, but it's not very mainstream, like you said with Stranger Things, during the first 3 seasons.
All right.
But I think if they do a good job, probably a good job on maybe throwing a curveball or something to kind of either wrap up this series here or figure out a good way to kind of get people to talk about it, because I know when the time comes leading up to the season, they're going to be talking about it 24/7. That thing is going to be talked about 100%.
Here's my thing. Go ahead, Allie.
Season 4 needs to end it. They need to go out with a bang. They need to go out with a bang, but go out.
Yeah, here's the thing: it says the posters say every end has a beginning. So I think they are wrapping it up with this season, and I think that's what they said they were gonna do. I think they said they were gonna try it with season 3. Hence the reason they killed Hopper, and they started having 11 move away. But here's my thing: I think they need to kill off one of the main cast. I wouldn't necessarily vote 11. I would. That's what I was thinking. I think it should be 11. 11 should go out with a sacrifice. However, I also kind of want to see her with Mike. So, in my opinion, I think it should be a character that they haven't really teased dying. I think it either needs to be Joyce, Mike's sister,
Hopper,
Will's brother, Will's older brother,
most annoying character on there.
Steve
would be a heartbreak. Yeah, I
could see them going hard on just coming. I think that would be the twist, the biggest plot twist ever of just him making the ultimate sacrifice, and everybody would be so shocked.
I agree, but here's the thing: is honestly, I think Lucas. That's my best guess. Lucas.
Ooh.
I think Lucas would be a
Lucas.
good choice.
Wait, which one? Which
The
one
one
was
that
supposed
has
to be
the
a couple?
has like the weird bone thing. I think that is Lucas, right?
He's the one who has the girlfriend, the redhead girlfriend.
Oh, that okay. Lucas
Who's
is
the one
okay.
who's
Not
love-
Lucas.
who's the
I'm
one
thinking.
who's in love
Who's
with the second main character?
the one that like got a really good connection with Mama Steve? Henderson.
Yeah.
Yeah, Henderson. I think it needs to be him. I think he
I think
needs to
it'll be
bite
really
the bullet.
sad.
It would be sad, but I think it's a good gut punch. I think if you do it right, it could be a good gut punch. I think he needs to be the one that bites the bullet, or Steve, or Mike's older sister. I think Mike's older sister would be an interesting choice, or Will's older brother would be another interesting choice.
Yeah.
That I think one of the core cast needs to die. And it's not that I want them to. I don't want any of them to die. But I think
think it
if
just
you're
has to
gonna if you're gonna make sure that you have people's attention, you got to do it right, but you need to kill one of them off. And that's
Fundamentally,
where
I disagree. Fundamentally, I disagree.
okay.
In order to get people's attention,
Mhm.
You shouldn't have to kill off characters to get people's attention. And
No,
That is true.
that's
it-
not my point. I'm just saying I feel like that's
hold
where
on,
this
hold
is
on.
leading.
Let me finish. Let me finish.
Okay.
I am not enraged, but extremely irritated that society has gotten to the point where that's what it takes to really hold their attention.
Yeah.
I agree.
I
Because
think it's a cliche.
there are so many other ways you could do it, but that is what society has come to.
Yeah.
I just think with Stranger Things, I think that they have accepted the fact that you always have to have a body count. And that is the biggest thing about Stranger Things. And they're not afraid to kill off characters that people like. Look at Alexi. Look at Bob. Look at Bob, man.
Bob
was the hardest one.
Bob and the Russian were
Alexei.
the biggest heartbreaks ever. Because of the fact of like so many memes came out of Alexei, and like Bob was just such a lovable character, not just because he was in the Goonies, but the fact that his character.
I'm sorry. No, that's Hopper. Bob was season 2. You haven't gotten to it yet. I'm sorry. Did you also forget that Sean Astin was Samwise Gamgee?
True. Yes, that too. Yeah. Also, I forgot. Sorry.
You're good.
But I digress. Still, I think they do a very good job of like getting you attached to specific characters and like just blindsiding you out of nowhere without like just
Billy.
being like, what the fuck?
Billy was
I
a
mean-
gut punch to me just because they fleshed him out before they killed him.
I think he had it coming too.
That is a
At
good
the
way to
same
do
time,
it.
I think he really had.
Yeah, I'm just saying, I think if you flesh out a character like Billy was a good gut punch. He wasn't as big of a gut punch as Alexei, but it was more like it was a character flip that you could see working. It was almost like a Vader-esque flip. It was more like, oh, well, I never really liked you, but I'm gonna protect you. I'm gonna sacrifice myself for you, that kind of thing. And I feel like that was done extremely well. Well, I get it that people were like, I don't like Billy, he's an asshole. I think that was the
Like
whole
he got
point.
what it was coming to.
Yeah, some people were like, oh, he got what he deserved. I'm like, I don't think he deserved it. I think he was more of a victim than people let him on to be. I'm not saying he wasn't a dickhead. He was. Not even saying it's excusable, but I'm just saying, like, at least he did it right in the end. I think that's what should be important about Billy. But
True.
Any more thoughts, comments, concerns on Stranger Things season 4?
Who's gonna enjoy it?
End it at 4, bro. Don't
I
Yeah,
agree.
Just
That's what I think we're all
End it at
saying.
4.
Well, okay.
I really hope it shouldn't go any longer than what we're about to get. I feel like if it goes longer, I think I'm like most people. I think we're just gonna get bored of it, and we're just gonna be like, we'll probably try to watch it. If it doesn't attach us, then it's done. It's done.
Real quick, I want to finish the thought I had earlier. They need to go out with season 4. If they try to go out with a bang, there is every possibility that they're going to end up in the same situation that Supernatural was, where the fans are just going to scream, holler, and raise hell to get more, and they need to stand strong against that.
Yeah.
Well, and here's the thing. It's nothing against, like, honestly, I would love to continue to, like, explore this universe, yes, with these characters and continue to call it Stranger Things. No.
There are other mediums to do that in that can work so much better.
I would love a Stranger Things video game that isn't Dead by Daylight.
Yes.
That would be fun. I would love a comic series, maybe an animated series. Like, there's so many different routes that you can take with this. Honestly, I don't even need the same characters. You can have, like, oh, hey, well, while all this weird shit was going on outside of Hawkins, this weird shit was going on in another random town. You know, like,
I feel like they should take. I get what you're saying. I feel like they should take like another like kind of like myth / like other mysterious thing that happened in another town, because I remember this was like based on a true kind of like true story or whatever. I think they should go to that route of like because I mean, you know, this is just like the whole story is just a theory. No one exactly, because even when I showed it to my parents are like, oh, we remember when that was on the news, that it was kind of like a hoax, and they're like, we like how they like kind of tied that into like how that stuff, and I was like, I never knew that from when I started watching the series with him. I was like, oh, cool.
Yeah, that's cool. That's cool. That's based off of a myth.
I think it could work.
Yeah.
But no, that would be a good way to continue the legacy without overdoing it.
Exactly.
And like, don't get me wrong, you can have cameos of the characters from the first few seasons, but not like, don't like just kind of like nostalgia, you know.
Have it take place in modern day.
Yeah,
you don't have to keep going back to the past.
I feel like if we're being honest, I feel like if it doesn't end this season, I think that's where they're leading up to if fans want it, and not just fans. I think that might be the route where it goes, but I honestly think they need to end it like this season.
Well, and I think also the Duffer Brothers, I think they need to move on to something else, because I would love to see them do a Stephen King adaptation. I know that they said they would love to do that. I feel like let them do a show run of Salem's Lot. That would be a lot of fun. Do a mini series of Salem's Lot. That would be so much fun with the Duffer Brothers attached to it. I would love it if they did. I'm trying to think of another one. There's so many different miniseries from Stephen King that they could do. I would love to see them do a lot of stuff, but primarily I think Salem Lot.
Like an original horror piece, like like new like horror monster, like not Demogorgon, but something like to the caliber,
really not that,
like Friday the 13th or Freddy Krueger.
I would love to see them
Jason,
take on maybe like a slasher idea. That would be a lot of fun. I could see them doing something similar to Fear Street.
I feel like they have a potential of creating a new like kind of like the big, what they call like the big like monumentous like horror characters. So I think they really have the potential of doing that. They just need to somehow, some way figure out what character they can create without it kind of like being similar to stuff that's already been made, and I think they can do it.
No, I 100% agree.
Hard to do is to come up with a new monster and come up with something new for horror. That's why I think personally that horror is kind of out right now, because it's hard to think of something new for the genre.
Well, I'm just saying, like,
itself.
Honestly, do something along the lines of Fear Street. I could see the Duffer Brothers doing something like that. That could be a lot of fun. Also, hey, Brett. You okay there, buddy? You don't know what to talk about?
He's just chilling.
You don't have any thoughts, comments, concerns on Stranger Things?
Of course he's playing class.
Of course he is. All right, well, we're going to go ahead and go into our next topic. You can catch Stranger Things Part 1. You can catch Stranger Things Season 4 Part 1 on May 27th and Part 2 on July 1st. So, on to our next topic. Joe DiMaggio has stated that most likely he will not be coming back to voice Bender in the Futurama revival. This has upset a lot of fans.
Here we go.
I'm going to go ahead and let Lewis take the reins because he has actually read the tweet.
Here's the tweet. So, granted, before I even read it, he's had a lot of thought in this. He's thought about this for who knows how long since he's been a voice actor. Granted, he's done many roles, many wonderful roles like Bender, Jake the Dog, and a few others that I'm probably missing. I do apologize. There's so many good characters that he's done. Yep. But I digress. He said, hey, I've been thinking about this. I've been thinking about everything that has been on the past month and just want to be clear. I do not think that I only deserve to be paid more. I think the entire cast does. Nostalgics as are a natural part of the work in show, which I'm assuming he's talking about Futurama. Business. Everyone has a different strategy / different suggestion / different like boundaries or struggles. I think that's what he's pretty much trying to say. Their price. So like he's pretty much talking about like everybody has their different price on what they think they as a voice actor should be paid. And he goes on to say that some accept offers and some hold their ground. Bender is a part of my soul, and nothing about this meant to be disrespectful to the fans or my Futurama family. It's about my self-respect and honestly being tired of the industry that is becoming too corporate and taking advantage of artists' time and talent. Look, I wish I could give you every detail and you would understand, but it's not my place. Thank you again for the love, everyone, and still hope for the best. In the meantime, I'm in New Orleans shooting an interview with a vampire for AMC. So like I'm assuming a vampire for, I guess it's a new show or something for AMC. And very grateful to be. Thanks. That's pretty much it.
So that's a lot to unpack. I don't disagree either. I think that yes, Bender, not only does John DiMaggio, I mean, this guy has been voice acting for ever. He is Bender. Like, there's nobody else that can really do Bender. Honest to God, there's something about the way he does his delivery and everything else like that I don't think anybody else can do Bender. And I think honestly, Disney's just gonna have to pony up the fucking cash. I mean, it's fucking Disney. They have the money for it. I don't think he's asking for like $1 billion. I think he's just asking for a bit more than what they're fucking offering.
Honestly, I think he's just being honest with himself, and I think and it's not just him. I think that's what happens to a lot of voice actors and actors in general. I feel like more along the side of more towards the voice acting. I feel like voice actors don't get paid as much as they should.
No,
granted,
I agree.
depending on the project, I understand where some are a little bit less of a paycheck, but I still think voice actors should be paid a little bit more for it, especially because if they are a very well-known person like Joe or anybody else that we know and love that does our favorite voices, I think they should be paid a little bit more. I know that might kind of like debalance on like people who are up and new coming voice actors, and that might be kind of a little bit discouraging, but I digress. At the same time, this is show business. This is an actual business. So I mean, at the same time, if you have experience, not just with voice acting, with any other job, if you have more experience, you should at least be getting, and if you do a really damn good job and work hard and show, I think you should be paid what you need to be paid and what you think you should be paid. Now, granted, there's a very thin line of how people should be paid. Some people are maybe a little bit too dramatic on their pay rate. I still think if you can come with a good balance and an equilibrium of a good price range for yourself, I think it's fine. I just think right now that's what a lot of voice actors are struggling with, is pay in general, just better pay.
Right. I don't totally disagree. Now, I will say this: there is some things that I will say that there's some slight drama that came about, but I appreciate the man who was offered to get the role. They did offer it to Mark Hamill. He has actually stated that he's like, no, that's not fair to John. And it's kind of like it'd be like someone
Taking
trying
Luke from him.
Yeah, like someone trying to take Luke from him, something that's like bred into his soul, like that isn't a character that can be reinterpreted multiple different ways. I mean, like the Joker can be reinterpreted many different ways, and that's one of the few things that Mark Hamill and John DiMaggio have in common, is they have both voiced the Joker. Granted,
Yep.
he's voiced him a little bit more,
and they're both different stuffs.
Yes, exactly. I will say John has not. I think he's only done one voice credit for the Joker, and that was Under the Red Hood, which is still good, by the way. I would highly recommend watching it if you haven't. And that's just the whole thing. Is I think that I personally think that John should be paid the money. I think he should be paid the money that he thinks he deserves, especially for a 20 episode revival. I mean, come on, man, just pay him. It's not that
Bender
hard.
is like his bread and butter, so I mean...
Yeah, and you can't have a
if you
Futurama
really-
revival without Bender. There's no Futurama
And if
without
you-
Bender.
And if you really want to have it even to be successful in general, not just the nostalgia part, just to make sure that everybody is happy.
Mhm.
I mean, granted, there's still probably, you're not going to always please everybody, but if you can do that, I think it'll do wonders and have people wanting more instead of it just being like those episodes that were already selected.
No,
So-
I 100% wholeheartedly agree. Any more thoughts, comments, concerns on John DiMaggio might not be returning as Bender?
I get it.
It's sad. It sucks, but I mean, hey, if you believe that your worth is pay needs more pay, then it needs more pay.
Yeah.
Props to him for, speaking up in general, that, because a lot of voice actors are very afraid of speaking up about this and other stuff. But, I think he did a very good job publicly, whether that was him or whatever manager / publicist, whatever he has, helped him out with it or whatever it is. I still think it came from him and came from like his heart and what he feels that he deserves, because he has been working his ass off for who knows how many years. So I mean, as long as we've known him for his many like roles that he's done, I will say that I think the industry needs to do, just for, I know like other industries as well, but I feel like voice acting has been hit very heavily, with me knowing of other of my inspirational voice actors that I look up to. They don't get paid that much.
No.
They really don't.
It's not a prosperous
they get a
career.
fraction. And I've been told, because I kind of want to hopefully get a chance to dabble in that, and they've said, look, voice acting is not for everybody. You have to be very passionate about it. Also, don't take voice acting as a permanent job. Have a side job. You need to have a side job to support yourself, because if you really look into your favorite voice actor, whoever that is, their payouts from whatever previous projects and stuff, they really don't make that much. As much as a lot of people glorify and say, oh, well, this voice actor has a mansion, has a house, I'm like, no, they don't. They even talk about it at panels.
Yeah.
They really do not have as much money as people think they do.
No, they don't.
Just because you have a voice doesn't mean that you're making millions and billions. So,
You're barely making hundreds of thousands, if that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the image of the struggling actor is actually more honest than we think it is.
Right.
I think society and people glorify, like, they kind of like mesh both acting and voice acting together.
Yeah.
Because granted, somewhat it's kind of the same way, but in reality, when you kind of like divide it, it kind of is, but not really. So I
Absolutely,
mean,
yeah.
you're not physically. Yes, they are acting, and yes, it is some form of acting, but they're not doing human characters. They're not doing body language in the way that you think. They're doing more animated language and more characteristical body language, to where they are specialized in their voice of being able to pull out amazing, like, animes, cartoons, or whatever you think, anything about the animation industry. When in acting, you are actually in person and human, being a different character. Granted, that's kind of like the little bit of similarities, but also putting in the work of, whether that be live action, whatever genre it is, physical or something emotional, you see it in a more human, realistic side than a fantasy side, characteristic fantasy side cartoon. So,
And
Yeah.
that's part of the problem. There is, generally speaking, a certain stigma that voice acting isn't real acting. It is a stigma I vehemently disagree with.
It is real
Especially-
acting. In some ways, it's more difficult.
Especially if you look at some of the
It's
behind-the-scenes footage of voice actors at work.
Mhm.
Because then they're having to react to things they can't even see the other side of a lot of the time, and a lot of them are actually going through the motions of what their character is doing as they're delivering the lines.
Yeah.
So
I've heard so many things. I know. Okay, might be kind of like a little bit of controversial topic. I still stand by this. I love both dubbed and sub, but I prefer dubbed because I don't struggle as much because of my disability. Now, granted, that shouldn't be an excuse of actually watching the actual sub of animes.
Mhm.
I still support the original.
I'm not a fast reader.
Original cast and original actors. I still support them. I still support what they do. I just think a lot of people hate on dub way too much than what it needs to be. Granted, yes, there's some things that, like flaps and other stuff, that I know when it comes to dubbing cartoon character, movie, or whatever. Usually it's the people who are behind the scenes, the engineers, or they didn't cast the right person for that voice. I get that. I get that a lot of people, when you watch like the sub of whatever anime your favorite anime is, you fell in love with that voice, and then when you try to watch the dub, you're like, that's not the voice that I'm used to. It feels weird. It feels wrong. The vocals are not adding up to what the dub is, and all this other stuff. I still stand by dub voice actors. I think they do a fantastic job. I think if you have the right person, they do so many wonderful things as a dub voice actor in all these different shows that are mainstream and not mainstream. So,
No,
Agreed.
I also agree. Yes, but go ahead.
the thing is, this is one of those subjects where there really shouldn't be a controversy, and yet there is, because humanity and just general wanting to fight itself. Both sides of this, both sides, and this goes back to the acting and voice acting itself. They are equally as important, because, like you said, there are people with disabilities that can't deal with that cannot do subtitles. Personally, even with dub, I have to have subtitles because a lot of the time my brain is trying to grab onto everything at once.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't make any difference to me if it's dubbed or subbed. But
Yeah.
I get that for a lot of people, it does make a huge difference.
yeah.
Yep.
Granted, that's why when I see like stuff with sub and dub, with dub, they try to, depending on what studio is, they try to make sure that whatever character from the original like series or in general actor, the same voice, try to like also audition people who have the similar voice style, so that way it doesn't feel like kind of awkward.
All right.
Go ahead, Christian.
Oh no, I'm just saying, yeah. Any more thoughts, comments, concerns on Joe DiMaggio or John DiMaggio may not be returning at?
I think it just deserves better. That's just the
I'll do.
bottom line. I think not just him, but I think a lot of voice actors deserve better pay.
Mm-hmm.
I think a lot more people should be speaking up about this issue. I do think that, if you know that you've been putting work for so long and still haven't gotten your due on getting at least a decent, well sustainable pay to live, I think you do deserve that. I think he has proven time and time again that he does deserve to be paid the way that he wants to. Whether digress, he's not going to say how much he is deserved of that. That's on the voice actor, but still, at the end of the day, people should get paid if they do a good job.
No, I agree. All right, on to our next topic. Go ahead,
'cause
Ali.
I think at this point we're just rehashing the same comment.
All right, on to our final topic for the night, and ironic because we are talking about a finale. We're going to talk about the season finale of Peacemaker, and I actually genuinely enjoyed this. This is a good show.
Coming all late.
Oh, that was hilarious. Yeah, I will say this. That is a good spoiler, by the way. That is hilarious. That is one of my favorite jokes. Just because I love the interaction between them. It was also great to hear. It was also great to hear Aquaman say the freaking F word. That was awesome, especially Jason Momoa. It's like, I am so fucking tired of that rumor, and it's like, but it's not a rumor. Fuck you, Barry.
Yeah.
I'm like, that's funny.
My question is, who played Wonder Woman and who played Superman?
I think it was just guys that. I think it was just people in silhouettes, because I don't think they could get Gal Gadot, and I know for a fact that Henry Cavill's been having some bullshit going on with Warner Brothers. So
yeah.
They're not hosting him as they're not going to be hosting him as Superman.
I mean, you can see it in their facial, like in the facial shadows, like they were the actual characters, but they weren't present. So,
right, absolutely. But I will say this:
I still think they did a good job.
No, I agree. I think the show ends on a pretty high note. I will say there are some moments in the finale that I'm like, okay, come on, we're really doing this. Like Takanomo's breaking his leg and then crawling like 300 yards within like 5 seconds. That's some bullshit.
Yeah.
But
my only wonder is, while they're gonna really kill her daughter, though.
No, I don't think she's gonna kill her daughter, because I think Waller's gonna go to jail.
Yeah.
I think Waller's gonna go to prison.
With how much blackmail she has on everybody.
Oh yeah.
Really?
No, if she killed her,
when-
it would be too suspicious. But go ahead.
My favorite scene was when they were about to go in and kill the cow and stuff, and the music hits, and I was like, hell yeah, this is how they're gonna end it.
Do you really want to taste it?
I was like, all the time I was like, fuck yeah, let's go, let's fucking end with a bang.
I agree.
I think they went into the whole part with the cow situation. I think they went into hey, we're gonna throw something that's about today's lifestyle and what's going on.
Yeah.
Another thing what they did with it, the whole y'all guys are killing yourselves, and we don't want that for y'all guys, so that's why we're trying to take over your world.
We're trying to save humanity / y'all don't know what y'all are doing to yourselves, and I'm like,
Again, I called it with Invasion of the Body Snatchers. I'm just saying, you heard it right here, folks. I called it. I fucking called it.
I'm just gonna say this. At that point, just let it happen.
Yeah.
If you are having to interfere on that level to keep humanity from killing itself, just let it happen.
I mean, if we're being honest, natural selection. That's just the big thing. Natural selection will happen, and if you're ready, you're ready. If you're not, you can't blame yourself. So.
Wow, a bunch of nihilists on this channel. Anyways. Yeah, that being said, this is a thoroughly entertaining show. Hands down, thanks to James Gunn. I think if anybody else had showrun this, it wouldn't have worked as well. I think
think
James
all the
Gunn's like
characters-
his humor and everything else like that, even though it does go a little far with some jokes, it's like, all right, shut up, you know. Like, I get it, but come on, it's not as bad as Joss
I
Whedon
think all-
dialogue.
Yeah, I think all the characters, like, it went from being the whole vigilante,
Mhm.
and who was the other person who you said that was like stealing the show, or you just said vigilante?
Vigilante steals the show for me, but Dichotomos kind of, I really felt for Dichotomos in this episode. I really did.
Yeah, like this.
What's her name? The blonde
last-
chick. What's her name?
Oh, Eagly also kind of steals the show in this.
Not eagerly. The blonde chick. What's her name?
Oh, Hardcore. Hardcore.
Hunter. Or something?
No,
Hardcore.
hardcore. Yeah, hardcore.
I feel like she kind of stole. I feel like she kind of stole the last part of the show.
Mhm.
The last part of the episode with her finally getting to be like interested in Peacemaker. Because in the
Yeah.
beginning, she
yeah.
goes from he's a fucking
She
piece of
goes-
shit to
Yeah.
hey, you're kind, and then going to hold my
Like-
hand so we can be friends.
Yeah.
So, type of shit.
or
That
some romantic thing.
That kind of thing is something that you hope to see from characters like that.
Yeah.
Not just sudden, but a steady growth throughout a season or a couple seasons.
I think they did it right. I think they did it right with both of those characters because of how they are. I think they didn't rush it or push it or kind of like throw it up in our face too much. I think they did just enough to kind of like be like, this might happen. We don't know if it is going to
Right.
happen, but
Right.
you were kind of leaning towards that, even though that we're going to throw some curveballs at you, you know. But honestly, I was surprised that they announced a season 2 right before even the finale like
Oh, really?
even was released. Yeah, they are like I even like put it in general. Yeah, they already like before the last episode they already said, well, it's official, season 2 is happening. So I'm like,
Yeah.
wow, that quickly. So we'll see
yeah.
where
Anyways,
all this
will
leads up
John
to.
Cena come back though? Will John Cena?
Oh, he
come back?
will for sure.
Yeah, he loved this.
From what he's like said and tweeted out. He enjoys the character Peacemaker because he's getting a chance of not being John Cena. John Cena, like if I don't know how big wrestling fans you are, John Cena was always the good guy in wrestling. He was always the towards kids, and he's now having an outlet, not just because of his age. Like he's probably not he's obviously not wrestling too much, kind like he was back when he was young. He's now getting more of a chance of being an adult and doing more adult things that normally his audiences wouldn't be able to watch. So it's a good thing that he's actually finally being able to do more adult type content instead of just being towards kids.
Right.
Yeah.
I will say this. There is something that honestly, just because of this is how I know that John Cena is going to come back. A, it's his show. B, according to James Gunn, John Cena made Peacemaker bisexual, which it's not like overtly. It's not overtly told, but it is very subtly hinted at that he is bisexual.
Well, that's the way you got to do it these days.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, okay. So a really good example, a show that I just recently finished. It's also another Netflix show, by the way. I don't know if you guys are any big Mike Flanagan fans, but I need to definitely watch his other shows, which are Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor. I recently finished Midnight Mass. Goddamn.
I don't know what the fuck that is because I've never.
It's a Netflix show.
watched it.
It's a 7-part miniseries. Goddamn, that shit's good. Don't get me wrong, it's not perfect. There's definitely a lot of monologuing in this show. That's a big thing that Mike Flanagan has a problem with. But yeah, it's really really good. I will tell you this: if you are a huge dog lover like I am, there is something that happens to a dog. It's quite graphic, and I was like, oh, come the fuck on. A dog gets poisoned, and it's very graphic. It's like within like the second episode too.
Because the washer sucks.
Yeah. So there is that. There's also a woman that not only loses her kid like during pregnancy, it makes it to where like her kid never existed, like her pregnancy never happened. So I'm not gonna spoil anything, like any major plot relevance. I'm not gonna spoil that. Not that isn't like taking place in the second episode. I believe it's like the second or third episode that where she like just loses the kid. Because I mean, these are hour-long episodes. This is like a 7-hour miniseries. It's long, but it is very, very, very good in my opinion. The monologuing does go on a little bit long for some things, but one particular character that has a lot of it, I mean, like he has blocks of text. I'm talking like a good 10 to 15 blocks of text, is because he's a priest. So I will say this, while the creature in this, you do eventually figure it out, and it's a pretty lame effect, I will say, especially whenever you see it like full form and light and everything. It's kind of underwhelming, but holy shit, does this show kick ass. I would highly, highly, highly recommend 100% checking out Midnight Mass if you have Netflix. Also, if you're interested in anything that Mike Flanagan has done, he again is the guy who did Haunting of Hill House and Haunting of Bly Manor, which I heard Bly Manor was not as good. Hill House is pretty damn scary, but here's the thing that Mike Flanagan does. Mike Flanagan does horror.
What was the point?
What is the point? Oh, I'm just talking about, okay, so I brought up the bisexual thing, like very, very vaguely hinted at. There is a character in that show that, I mean, it's like a split second, like blink and you'll miss it. I missed it at first until I heard, well, this is not exactly my ideal second date. There's a character in there that becomes fairly important later on, is gay, but it's not bashing you over the head with like, oh yeah, no, this woman's like 100% a lesbian. No, that's not the case. Joe, you're too fucking late. We're about to wrap this shit up.
Seriously, what the heck, man?
Wow.
I just want to late before you go to bed.
Okay.
Professional.
Very unprofessional. Thank you for everybody agreeing on me. We're gonna all boo Joe. 3, 2, 1. No, I'm kidding.
No.
I drew blood to start.
But anyways, Midnight Mass is a lot of fun. I would highly recommend it. Well, not fun, but it's elevated horror. It's got some genuine good scares. Like there's some points that actually made me legit jump and almost drop my fucking phone. And but it's primarily the main focus is its characters, and then the horror is really as a backdrop. It's like it focuses on religion, hence the name Midnight Mass. It's primarily a Catholic church that's focused on, but then you have the horror element twisted in it. It's kind of like Haunting of Hill House was primarily about depression and loss and grief. But it also has ghosts in it, you know, that kind of thing. Like it's like ghosts that haunt people, not places. That kind of thing.
Yep.
So that being said, back onto Peacemaker. I highly recommend Peacemaker if you have not checked it out. It is a blast. I believe 7 episodes is fine for one season. Do not skip the fucking intro. If you skip the intro, you're dead to me.
I skipped it like 3 times in the whole show.
Gallows, you're dead to me. Get the fuck off my podcast.
The intro
every episode.
The intro made the show. I'm not gonna lie.
The intro is what makes the show. Yes.
I'm like, it's gonna be that kind of show. Hell
yeah. It's gonna be a show that takes itself seriously, but not too seriously. I mean, you're gonna have fun with it. It's a James Gunn show, man. Yeah,
vibes.
it's kick-ass vibes. It's I don't know if you've ever seen a movie called Super.
Yeah, I've seen it. It was good.
That's another James Gunn movie. A lot of people don't realize that James Gunn, before he did Guardians of the Galaxy, he did like these really weird adult offbeat shit. Like, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of or seen Slither. If you haven't, I can't recommend it more. It is a
Is it
B
like-
horror movie. It's a monster movie, but
Snake?
no, it's these little slug creatures that are like alien, like, and I can't recommend it enough. It's got Nathan Fillion, it's got James Gunn, hell, it's even got Michael Rooker. What else could you ask for? Yeah. But that being said, any more thoughts, comments, concerns on the finale for Peacemaker?
I think they did a good job.
Oh, worth it.
I hopefully think that they stay on the right path of not having too many episodes, but also figure out when they want to actually end the season or the show in general. I feel like I think because of how the show is with comedy / like bullfuckery in general, it shouldn't be too short, but it also shouldn't be too long too.
No, I agree. Hold on one second. Brett, get off your fucking phone. No, I'm kidding. Young man. Yeah. Hey, young man, if I have to tell you to get off your phone one more time, this dinner date is over. No, I'm kidding.
Whoa.
You're literally turning into Zachary.
Don't make me confiscate that.
Oh,
Are
wait,
we
did you
going
just
back to high school?
hold on. Did you just fucking compare me to Zach?
I said you're
Oh,
turning into Zachary for phones.
Bro, no, I'm not like that. And if you think Zach's bad, honestly, Team Art's worse. Anyway,
T. Martin.
Smart likes me.
it's the
she's
whole
cool.
thing. She is chill, but like she's pretty stickler on phones.
YouTuber? Screw that
It's
guy.
a manager.
Because he hasn't been talking.
Yes.
What-
What is your opinion on the finale for Peacemaker, Brett?
Just anything that we talked about.
Never seen it.
Okay,
I have
anything
no
that we've
idea
talked
what
about.
that is.
You've been silent as shit.
Be gone.
I literally have no clue.
I'll just start at the
Okay.
music
What about
technology.
Futurama? Have you watched Futurama?
Have you watched?
Nope.
You've never watched Futurama? I will fix that. Don't worry.
Never
You
watched
got Hulu?
Futurama, Stranger Things. I haven't watched Peacemaker. I haven't watched. What was the other thing you guys talked about?
Chip and Dale.
I haven't seen any trailers for Uncharted.
Punisher.
I don't know. I haven't
We
seen.
will
I haven't
fix
seen
that. We will-
anything.
We will fix
You don't
this.
have a TV, my friend? That's what I want to know. Do you have a TV? I feel like you're one of those kids that don't have a TV.
Why would he have a computer and not have a TV, bro? That makes no
I
sense.
have a TV, but I don't watch shows.
Okay.
So
It's okay. It is okay. It's not. You're not. You're not probably the only one who doesn't like to watch shows.
Mm.
At some point, you need to. You're interested in something. Do it. Oh my ears.
I'm getting it too. Don't worry. There's a child. There's been a child abduction in San Antonio. I apologize, folks. This is why I have my phone on vibrate. Anyways,
It always happens here, bro.
yeah.
It's a good thing we live in Texas right now.
Getting flashbacks of the fire alarm.
Oh yeah. All right, but Joe, what were you trying to say?
And I just got one too. I just got an Amber Alert.
All right.
Me
Who
too.
the fuck's Amber? Who are you talking to? You sleeping with another bit? No.
Actually, go to the other side of the room just in case.
who's Amber and why is she alerting?
Who's Amber and why is she calling you?
Who's Alarm and why is she calling you at the same time every day?
Jake, State Farm. Well, she sounds hideous.
It's like, well, she's a guy, so.
Guys.
Who's Amber and why is she like perfectly describing you?
It's like, it just says tornado imminent. Like, that's so you. I mean, come on, why is she perfectly describing you at this point?
Said just 5 minutes. It ain't been 5 minutes.
Yeah, we'll do that. She
Anyway.
get off for the minute, not from the light.
I got to hop up anyway. My lights
Alright.
are off.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Check general before you hop off tonight.
Huh?
Concern?
I gotta get up early for work.
Yeah, I do too. So let's go ahead and wrap this shit up. This has been
Probably
Snodacast episode 8. I've been your host, BlackShot56. I've been joined by Lewis, aka Diamond Assassin, Thomas,
Peace,
aka
sir.
Gallows, Allie, aka the Hungry Hufflepuff.
You'll never see it coming.
Haha, exactly. And of course, Brett, aka Poncho Goose. as he like gives us the most subtle middle finger of all time as he's rubbing his eye. Anyways,
hopefully next time we have more games to talk about, so that way he can talk. Because
That's true.
I'm assuming he's a gamer.
That's probably my best guess.
It depends.
Yeah.
Take
He's
care,
a pretty
folks.
boring individual. I'm trying to make sure that fixes itself. No, I'm kidding. He's actually pretty cool. All right. But anyways, this has been the Snodacast, episode 8, and